Okay, so some of the other work you've found, I know you've found that there's sometimes is one solution, and then usually there's two solutions. And what we're going to learn about today is a tool that will help us. It saves us some time, really. It'll tell us whether we can factor or not, or how many solutions there are, or whether there's no solution. And so, what these things look like, what these parabolas look like, is, well, like here's the situation where there's two solutions, two zeros. And how do we know that without having to do a lot of work? Here's the situation where there's only one solution. It crosses right there. I got to pretend that I crossed that. And then the other situation is when there's no solutions. And the graph looks something like this. It doesn't come down and touch the x-axis, and it goes to infinity up there. So that's how we're going to figure this out. Um, so we're going to start here. We're going to start a quadratic in the form, let's see, ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So if we know that, so then the a is the number in front of the x squared, the b is the number in front of the x, and the c is the constant term. Okay, and I don't know if we need to write anything here because we know this. So if the discriminant, so once you evaluate it, so what you're going to do is get those numbers, substitute them into this little formula, and if it's positive, that tells me there's two solutions. And we'll call them two real solutions. If it's negative, that tells me there's no real solutions. Here, you know what I'm doing? I'm just going to leave it as no real, because I'm running out of room to write. And then if it's 0, that tells me there's one solution. Okay? And this will mean more, if we were in school and we had more time, we could do a lot more with this. Getting through this will be fantastic. Getting through this in the next section, you can do that. That'll be perfectimo. You'll have gone above and beyond what really you needed to do. So now for these questions, we're going to find the discriminant. So a for this problem is 1 because there's nothing in front of the x squared. B equals 2. C equals 1 because of that. And now remember, the discriminant is b squared minus 4 times a times c. So what you can certainly do is b is 2, so we can write that as 2 squared minus 4 times a is 1, right? A is 1, so that goes in for the a. Notice I'm doing that same thing I've wanted you to do all year long, and you promised me you'd do it, is whenever you're replacing a variable with a number, you'd use parentheses and then write the numbers inside. And then c also equals 1 in this case. So 2 squared is 4. 4 times 1 is 4. So that's 0. So that tells me there's one real solution. So I'm going to touch the x-axis in one place. Now, what I'm going to do, and you're going to see me to start doing this right now, is I know whatever b is, I'm going to square it. So if b is negative, like down here, b is negative, I'm going to square it, and I'm just going to write 4. Okay, I'm not going to write this step. I'll probably say it, but that's just saves us some headaches. So I would write 4 minus this. You'll see what I do. So now in this case, we got to set it equal to 0, right? So 3x squared minus 0x minus 12. I'll write the 0x in just so we know it's there. A equals 3, b equals 0, and c equals negative 12. So the discriminant says take b squared, well, 0 squared is 0, minus 4 times a times c. See how I wrote that out? I took the a, that went in for the a right there, and then the c went in for the c, and then I'm going to have, 0, and then minus 4 times 3 is negative 12. Then negative 12 times negative 12 is positive 144. So because it's positive, I know there's two real solutions. Okay. This one, 3x squared minus 2x plus 6. We have to set it equal to 0. A equals 3. B equals negative 2. C equals 6. So the discriminant's b squared, so negative 2 squared is positive 4. Negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. Minus 4 from the formula times 3 times 6. So do you see I took the 3 in for the A, the negative 2 it said take it and square it, so I wrote 4, and the 6 is in for the C. And this is going to be 4 minus, let's see, 3 times 4 is 12, and 12 times 6 is 72. So negative 72. I hope you see that this is going to be equal to what? Negative 68. So because that's negative, that tells me there's no real solutions. This is a situation where this polynomial or this quadratic equation is going to look something like this. It'll never cross the x-axis. All right, so this one, 4x squared minus 20x plus 0, because I want to know that c is a 0. I wouldn't write that, but you just learning, you might want to. 4 is A, B is negative 20, C equals 0. The formula says negative B, so I'm sorry, B squared. So negative 20 times negative 20 is positive 400 minus 4 times 4 times 4 times 0. Well, 4 times 4 times 0 is 0. This is a positive number. That tells me there is positive number. It tells me there's 2 real solutions. Okay, and remember it's going to be b squared minus 4 times a times c. A equals negative 1. B equals 3, C equals 5. It's okay that A is negative here. It's a little weird. I would have written it maybe a little differently, but it's okay. So B squared, 3 times 3 is 9, minus 4 times negative 1 times 5. I hope you see the shortcuts I'm taking, but more importantly, what I'm not taking. See, I do the squaring because that's easy, but this can be a little confusing, so I usually write it out just like that. So let's see, 9. Now, negative 4 times negative 1 is positive 4, and positive 4 times 5 is 20. So that turns to plus 20, which is 29. That's a positive number. That tells me there's 2 real numbers that are solutions. It crosses the x-axis twice. It probably is not going to be at a nice integer value, but we know it'll cross it twice. And then this very last one, let's see what happens there. So A equals 1, B equals negative 4, C equals negative 7 because it's set equal to 0. That's nice. Yeah, can I delete this? Hopefully I can delete this here without deleting everything. I can. All right, so then b squared, negative 4 times negative 4. Remember, this is b squared minus 4 times a times c. So b is negative 4. Negative 4 times negative 4 is 16. Minus 4 times a, which is 1, times c, which is negative 7. 16, and then negative 4 times 1 is negative 4, times negative 7 is positive 28. And what's that going to be? 30, 44? Well, that's positive, so that tells me there's 2 real solutions. And that's useful. This can save us some work. This can save us some work when we do the next step and the next way to solve these things with a quadratic formula. Okay, I don't think you need to have any work on this. Maybe in the handout I'll give you a couple to try.